Hey there good peeps, Sammy here, and I've got another indie game to show you today. This time we are looking at a new metroidvania called Toziuha Night, Order of the Alchemists. A bit of a mouthful there, so apologies if I got that wrong or if I butchered the name. It's not my intention. This is basically your 16-bit style, so in between Super Nintendo and PlayStation 1 style graphic game. It is a Metroidvania. My channel has turned in favour of towards Metroidvanias these days because I'm getting really into them. And I saw this on Twitter, I think, and I fell in love with the art design because it reminds me of the old school Castlevania games back on the 16-bit consoles. Like the Super Nintendo, and I'm a massive fan of those games. So I thought I might as well check out the demo, which is available. Upon checking out the demo, I realised this game is not set for full release until Q4 2024, as it says on the Steam page. Not a problem though, still worth checking out the demo, and I'm going to showcase to you guys why that is, and what is so great about this game, and where I feel it could be improved going forward. So if you like what I do here, feel free to give a like and subscribe to the channel because it really helps me out, and it is my job to showcase to you guys some indie games that you may or may not have heard of, and to point you guys in the direction of games that might be up your street. So thank you very much for watching the video, I really appreciate it. Before we move any further forward, I'm just going to read to you guys the Steam synopsis, just to give you a brief overview of what this game is all about. This is the story of Xandria, an iron alchemist. She seeks revenge regardless of the consequences. To achieve it, Xandria fights with a powerful whip and the power of chemical elements. Find out more about her in this modern Metroidvania adventure. And it says modern adventure, but it feels kind of like an old school type of game here, harking back to the days of Castlevania on the Super Nintendo, Super Castlevania in particular, cross between that and maybe Symphony of the Night actually on the PS1, to be quite honest with you, which is no bad thing at all because both games are absolutely fantastic. And you have a iron whip as your main weapon, very reminiscent of what Simon Belmont carried in the Castlevania games in the series, and using that feels actually really good. In fact, the controls for this game feel great in general. Some modern games I've been playing in the Metroidvania genre recently haven't felt as good, so to speak, as this. And what I mean by that is, like, for example, when you jump in this game and attack, you have the free roam of moving around in midair while you're attacking, whereas some games, which I won't name, will have you jump, and then when you attack, your body kind of stops dead, and you can't move around while you're swinging your sword or whip or whatever it is in midair. Whereas this, you've got the free roam of moving around wherever you want to go whilst you're in midair and attacking, which just gives you a bit more level of freedom and makes it a lot more comfortable to use, if I'm being honest with you. Having said that, attacking in general feels really great, even on the ground. Like, it's just super addictive to be able to chain combos together, then press your LB to dash backwards, or you can even dash through enemies to get away from them and stuff like that with a dodge roll, which is really great. It needs to be said that I was playing this game with a Xbox 360 controller. The game is fully compatible with controllers, which is really awesome because these games, in my opinion, need to be played with a controller. No issues with playing it with a keyboard or such, but I just feel for my own personal preference, it's a gamepad all the way with a game like this. So it was very good to see that. And also you can swap between your secondary weapons. You get a choice of lots of different secondary weapons off the bat, really, in this demo, so to speak. So imagine how many weapons you can get in the full game. I expect there's going to be a lot more going forward. But it was nice to see a nice variation and choice of kind of weapons you can use. The secondary weapon, which I really like to use the most, with the knives, where you jump in the air and you throw the knives sort of downwards and diagonally down towards the enemies or in front of you, which was really intuitive to use and very handy in difficult situations. And being an alchemist, you also get to use a lot of alchemy spells, a lot of spells actually, at least half a dozen in the demo alone I could use to attack my enemies with. Some of them were like spikes that come out of the ground and move towards the enemies. Others were like these spiraling, huge, sort of gargantuan spells that killed anything in its presence. Another was like making it rain blood and attacking all the enemies around you and stuff like that. Really cool spells and features like that. The one minor drawback on all of that was the fact that when I first started to try and equip them and use them, it felt a little bit clunky and fiddly in the menu to try and actually equip them and stuff like that, and to know what I was actually doing, because in that menu, that's where you change your spells. You also change your secondary weapon and that, until you learn how to change them with a quick hotkey on your controller. And that's where you do that. Also, you open up your menu to heal yourself by eating bread and stuff like that, and regenerate your mana and stuff with potions. But the whole menu system with changing to your alchemy spells and everything, and changing your secondary weapon, seemed a bit fiddly, and it was very confusing at one point. There was a part in the demo where I got very confused on what I was actually doing and how to change it, because I needed to use one particular spell to progress forward in the demo and couldn't figure it out for a little while. I cut that part out, obviously, because of time restrictions on the gameplay. But yeah, I found that a bit fiddly, and that's a little drawback, and some players that are not used to this genre or used to doing that kind of thing in games may be even more confused than I was at that point. But it's a minor drawback at that. It's not really anything to write home about or to complain too much about, but I think it's just worth noticing and worth mentioning to those who have not played through this demo yet, that you will have that to get to grips with. But it's just a minor thing, really. Also, there are a variation of enemies to fight. There are like zombie creatures. There are these weird creature type things in black cloaks, like cultist type enemies. There's skeletons to fight through. There's fish under the water that you'll have to attack and destroy and get past. You'll be going underwater in this demo if you're going to play through this, and the full game features a lot more variation on places to traverse around. There's going to be caves, there's going to be sort of villages, there's going to be water type places, there'll be dungeon areas and forest areas. But the one thing that really hits me at this point is when you read the Steam page, it says that any player will be able to design their own map, and other players will be able to download it and play themselves, which is not a lot. We don't get a lot of that, if I'm being honest with you, with these kind of games. I don't see that very often around. That's kind of exciting, people making their own Metroidvania maps for other people to play and try out and stuff. I wonder if there'll be like a leaderboard system with these maps or something like that, or a way to view how many people have played your maps and stuff like that. I don't know, but that's kind of exciting, if I'm being honest with you. And like I said, that doesn't really... I don't see that around a lot. They say that the full game is going to last around 7 hours or something like that, but being able to download other people's maps is going to add to the longevity of this game, which is pretty cool, if I'm being honest with you. I wonder what else they're going to be throwing out that's custom for players to be able to create about this game, because that's actually pretty cool. The art style of this game is very good to look at, in the demo alone at least. In the burning village at the beginning of the game, I think it's just really cool how they got like the fire effects of this demising village with, you know, everything burning down to the ground, and you have like layers in the background of houses on fire and stuff, and in some areas you've got that fire in the foreground as well, which I think is really cool. Just adds to that level of intensity and that really horrible situation you're in, fighting your way through an army of cultists in this burning village and stuff. It really does add to that level of story that the game is trying to tell you. And without ruining the story too much, what I will say is Xandria is out for revenge. She is pissed in this game. There's going to be a bloodbath, a bloody mess, and she does not care. She's going out there, she's not taking any prisoners, she's slaying demons, cultists, zombies and skeletons, anyone who gets in her way, and she's out for revenge. I will just bring up one small gripe that I had with the game again, this time to do with the map. When you open up the map system, which is really important to have in a game like this, because easy to get lost in Metroidvanias, as you all are probably aware, me more than most. Basically, I could not move around the map using my control stick. I had to use my D-pad to look around the map, which I found a bit strange. It felt a little bit clunky and slow to do that. I don't see why you can't just look around the map using the control stick. I think that would be just way more intuitive and easier and faster and better overall to do that. So hopefully they add that going forward. Maybe they can take note of what I'm saying now and implement that going forward in time for full release, which is a long way off. Let's not forget, there's a long time and lots of time to improve on certain things that I have a little small gripe with. So hopefully they'll do that with the full release coming in 2024, but we shall see. If there are any more demos to play of this game between now and then, I will for sure pick it up and play, because I did have a great time with this demo. You have your health bar and your mana bar on the top left, green and blue, and then underneath that you've got kind of like a rage meter, whereas when you slay enemies with your whip, that meter will fill, and once it's full, you get to unleash like this devastating combo attack with your chain whip. By holding up and pressing attack, you can unleash like this really big and powerful sort of attack with your whip, which is really cool, a nice cool feature. There seemed to have been a lot of thought going into this game when developing this game so far, in terms of amount of skills, spells, and types of weapons that you can use. But also chaining your combos with your attacks is really good. Also this rage meter to build up a really devastating attack. Dodging whilst attacking at the same time, just so that you can maneuver out the way of oncoming attacks and stuff like that. And also in the air, being able to attack in the air and move freely. A lot of thought has gone into this. It's really nice to see the developer making such an effort on their game. You know, that obviously they've played a lot of Metroidvanias themselves and know exactly what we like the feel of in games like this. So it goes a long way to notice things like that, so I really do appreciate it. The music has a very symphonic feel to it, very, very reminiscent of Symphony of the Night on the PS1, which is a really, really great game, one of my favourite Castlevania games to date. So it was nice to hear it. You know, I wasn't surprised when I heard it, to be honest with you. I knew this game, just by looking at this game on screenshots and the videos on the Steam page, I knew it was going to have that kind of music feel to it, and it was great to hear because it sounds very, very good and goes very, very good with the theme of this game. So hoping to hear a lot more of the same when the full game comes out. One thing I love about these kind of games are the epic boss fights, and it's nice to see that there will be epic boss fights in this game. Nothing actually gives me more satisfaction than beating a boss in a game like this, you know, making all that progress, then finally getting to a boss that's really, really difficult to beat. You'll probably die a few times, well, I will die a few times, and then finally overcoming that hurdle and beating the boss in an epic proportion style, and it just feels really, really great. So the fact that there are bosses in this game is a really, really good thing, a nice touch, and very important to me in Metroidvanias these days. So I was happy to see it. You can imagine my enthusiasm to hear that there's going to be some great boss fights in this game too. And also it's great that you don't have to farm in this game. I loved Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. That's one of the most modern Metroidvanias I've played in recent times. But I didn't particularly like the fact that you had to farm so much. I don't know if you had to farm so much, but the game kind of pushed you in that direction. You know, you go off a screen, then you come back, and instantly the majority of the monsters are back, and you fight them all again, and you go up levels, get new abilities just by fighting monsters, and randomly sometimes you'll get a new ability from said monster. And yeah, the game kind of pushed you in the direction of the need to grind and farm against loads of stuff in order to get stronger so that you can fight bosses later on or harder enemies going forward in the game. It's not a bad thing, you know, sometimes I don't mind that, but honestly, sometimes it just feels like a bit of a grind, but you won't need to do that in a game like this. In this game, for example, you won't need to do that, but you will need to find new abilities in order to progress further in the game. You'll come across small areas that you can't get through just yet until you get like a ground dash ability. So you crouch on the ground and then you dash whilst you're crouching in order to get underneath certain areas that you couldn't before. So, you know, typical Metroidvania style, just like that. In a lot of in every Metroid game does that as well. So that's fine. I like that, but I like the idea that you don't have to grind and farm in this game too. There was an area in this demo which I wasn't too keen on. Towards the latter stages of the demo, you'll come to this sort of like underground cave area, and you literally can't see much around you at all. So you're walking around in this cave area, and all of a sudden you hit spikes, and it's like, there's not really anything you can do about it. You have to drop down onto platforms below you as well. Sometimes, just by chance, you'll hit a spike because you can't see what's below you. You can't see anything around you, and so you will just get hit a lot by enemies around and by spikes because literally you can't see anything. It felt a little bit cheap taking that damage, if I'm being honest with you. But like, you know, it's one of them things, and I'm sure more practice in the game, the more I'll be better at that area. But it just felt like I shouldn't have taken so many hits in that cave area, but there was nothing I could do about it. Never mind. I dusted myself off and eventually got there in the end. And you should at least get an hour out of this demo as well. It's quite a fun-filled demo, action-packed, a lot crammed into there. And fully respect to the developer for making such an effort on the demo. By the way, I'll have a link to the demo, the Steam page, which you can download the demo, in the description if you feel like you want to sort of give this game a try. Let me know what you think of it as well, by the way. Let me know in the comments what you feel about this demo and how this game stacks up against other Metroidvanias in the market, because it's quite a crowded genre these days, with a lot of Metroidvanias out there and a lot coming out as well. A lot of really great ones coming out. That look new and flashy and stylish, like the new Prince of Persia that was announced recently. But it's nice to see games still being made by indie developers that look like this, that kind of hark back to the olden times of the PlayStation 1 era, 32-bit era, and the SNES 16-bit era of Metroidvanias, which I really love and adore and cherish with all my heart, and will always be my favourite era of gaming. Overall, I had a really great experience with this game, and hopefully you will too. But I'm going to leave you guys now to watch the rest of the gameplay of this video, and I really hope you enjoy it. Thank you all again so much for watching, and I will see you next time for another indie game. Take care of yourselves. Hey good peeps, thanks so much for watching this video. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you like what you see, and also catch me live on Twitch every Sunday, Tuesday and every other Friday, 8 PM UK time. I'll see you there. Back to the video.